Stage 2 here then, and this one, so Moat Finale. And this is one where what I might actually do is, because yeah, as other people pointed out, there is a relay set of packs for the actual Bentley Continental in the store, and they're really like, they're actually very good value in terms of the sheer number of blueprints you get. There's 750 tokens for each set, and say if you would have that car at 3 stars, you can get an extra epic for the Valhalla for one thing, and a couple of 100 extra tokens. So what I will probably do in this is I'm going to do a practice run on Moat Finale. I'll put in like the 2-star time on that, and then going to bring this car to the 3rd star using those relay packs, and yeah, make a blast of this one, because I placed in 3rd position with this. My group is actually seems okay to be able to win the car for myself. So obviously, like, it's tier 1 group, so the top 10 are getting the car anyway. It seems like a lot of the people who are in this group aren't particularly interested. 2 didn't even race on day 1. So like, that means there's only 8 people going to miss out on a car key. If I was to take away the Bentley, I would like it to at least be 3 stars. So that's my kind of way for this. So what I'm going to do then is a practice run here with it at the 2-star rating, and hit up that, like, was it 1 shockwave, 121, and complete all the conditions from this. I'll put in my best practice time at 2 stars, and then I'll bring it straight to the 3rd star, and gonna do a run of it then in the actual Moat Finale live, and see how we get on with that. Such a weird car, this Bentley. Definitely not exactly a supercar, shall we say, putting it very nicely to this guy. But yeah, Moat Finale is a pretty cool track, and like, at least in this, you're not going to be encountering other racers. It's one, if you're in a group and you have no one else has done a race just yet, I'd say you're in a really good place for this one, because Moat Finale is going to be really nasty with the performance of the game. And if you're in one of those groups where everyone's just sitting and watching other players, yeah, consider like putting in an early run just to get that advantage of you'll be the only one who is on the track at the time of it. So at least you're not going to be encountering like crazy ghost action all over the place. Now, again here, I'm just going to be avoiding doing a lot of tricks and stuff with this car, because realistically, it doesn't do the car any, well, it does some favors, but obviously just not a whole pile. Really close into the wall here, and just, this one's all about kind of like that really careful handling. I guess that's the British side shining through. Again here, don't want to grind too much off the wall. Not too bad to trade paint. I would prefer actually to scrape the wall like that rather than to try and ever drift in this car, because like, it is just gonna end any kind of speed that this thing has, and it's not fast to begin with. So like, you are talking, like, again here, I would normally always drift on this portion of the track, and it's just not going to be worth it on the boat league, because it's just something that really, it doesn't handle it well. 116.07. That's obviously, it's a 2-star version of the car, but you can see there, like, relatively trick-free run, just 316 at the start, and just to get it up to some speed, and then just, again, like, small bit of, like, anytime you drift in this car, you can pretty much guarantee yourself that you're going to end up with eating some walls. So not exactly the best of ideas, but most of the time with this, it's just really carefully watching the lines on the road. Don't go onto the footpath, especially not in Osaka. You will just lose too much speed if you're not in a nitro state. And yeah, just I can't stress enough, just bit of careful driving with this, and you probably place in a relatively okay time. Eat some wall here, but yeah, I could see it on the speedometer. It wasn't exactly too costly, still kept over 170. It's going to be better than, as I said, just like normally there you try and drift, and yeah, just try and clear over the multi-story blue nitro if possible through the patch of footpath. Just avoid the footpath on all of this track if possible. And then just here again, not going to drift because otherwise you'd go sailing into all of that footpath kind of area, and just imperfect straight to the finish line. So 1:16.7 easily clears the thing. I didn't actually do a shockwave during that race. Do you think is that the that's the one that needs to be done 5 times, of course. But yeah, I'll shoot back in here and complete these goals again anyway. But that's 4 seconds to the good over that 121 that's been asked there. Now, and there's the last set of blueprints earned from that. So it's up to 11 out of 38 from that. So needing 27 more than I think it is to the next star up. I did a slightly increased time in that as well, at 1:15.687 in the 2-star version of the car, using more or less the same thing, just tidying up the route a small little bit. And yeah, like the Bentley in Osaka, it's a really cool enough combination, really, especially at the moment when like the game's frame rate's pretty low. So it's kind of nice having that route where you can just go and like break out a car on its own with no like other AI and stuff around. And they've got like a ghost driver in there now. So there's a one of the people in my group has done a run of 120. I think that's in a 1-star version of the car. But yeah, it's kind of cool. Like at the same time, I had a game crash as well, like during it. But yeah, definitely. I don't know. Grand Prix at the moment are the least affected thing, as opposed to how bad multiplayer is because of how terrible that frame rate is. Now then, as James Sinclair and a number of other people shouted in the comments, yeah, there was Grand Prix relay packs, which are actually a really good way of getting a blueprints for this car. Now, it's weird, again, there is a relay pack here which has tokens in the background on the icon, and an ever-increasing amount of tokens per each thing, which is just sheer laziness, because obviously those are the pictures which have been taken from these, which do include tokens 1, 2, and 3. And yeah, they've just slapped them on here to the relay packs, which, yeah, obviously these things don't have tokens in them. But laziness? Mistakes? Asphalt line legends? No. But yeah, I need 27 blueprints for the Bentley, and these actually have quite a lot of blueprints to them, but they've got like 7 and 5 packs, and then I think is it 8 and 10, and then the final one is yeah, really stacked. So I think at the very most these will definitely give me the star up from by the 3rd one if I don't get it on the 2nd. It would be cool to get it on the 2nd, but yeah, pretty cool. So like what's that, 6 10 from the very first one of these. It's not too bad. Still needing 17 blueprints then, because they are kind of weirdly numbered in these. So there's actually 8 guaranteed blueprints then, so which would mean I'd need 9 or 3 by 3 packs, which is incredibly unlikely to get, but at the same time it'll bring this car up towards the 3rd star. Given my group, like I said, it's fairly tame enough, I would say, and yeah, I'll get some extra use out of this car at 3 stars anyway. So we're getting 200 tokens back from stage 8 in the special event, which is ongoing at the moment. Just 3 and 3 each time. And let's see then the last ones. Now, like, I've no interest whatsoever in the 4th star of this, but for 750 tokens, this having 11 and 15 packs is pretty insane, like in terms of just the sheer amount of blueprints. If you were going to star up the car, this would definitely be the route to do that with. So yeah, that's after shooting it obviously over by quite a lot into the next thing. Again, I think these packs can only bring me Vanda blueprints as an addition to yeah, like my garage, with all the rest of the stuff being just trade coin mania for me. Again, this is just on stage 2, so there's 3 for the Bentley. I'd kind of prefer not to get Bentley blueprints too much from this, because yeah, that would be more good luck protection. But yeah, that's kind of in line with the average. 15 different packs and getting 2 out of there, 10% drop rate, so slightly better than the odds. But yeah, that's my Bentley on the 3rd star then, and 2300 rating. That will obviously give me my awesome 10 tokens back as well for my 2 dailies. It should be brilliant. Yay! But a 3-star version of that in the GP that I'm a part of should be nearly guaranteed the car. I would think. It seems most people, like I showed at the start, most people I don't think are too keen on this car, which is fair enough. I get it, like it's not exactly amazing, but it is just one of those ones where I kind of like the collection aspect of the cars more so than yeah, the actual, like, oh, this is the king of this class and this is the king of that class. It's more just about actually having a pretty cool range of cars, and it's kind of hilariously bad, but at the same time it is just as cool to me as having any of the other ones. So like something like the Speed Tail that's later on in this special event and for the season, like that's an S-Class car, but it's a mid-range S-Class car, and also a lot of people are going to be getting that at, say, like, you know, 1, 2 or 3 stars. So I don't see much value in something like that over, say, a free Lycan Hypersport or so, for example. It would be kind of like far less value to the carriage. That's what I will probably skip out on for the most part. Just use that to like farm back some tokens during the end of the season, I think, because yeah, physics wise and stuff, that's a car that's very little interest to me. But 2,374 rating, that's pretty cool. Like I said, I had a practice time of 1:15.687. We'll take this one to the track now for just a bit of practice at the 3 stars and see kind of what it's possible to put in with this. Now, I'm fairly confident that's our time there. That's a 1-star version of this car for sure. You can see that, like, yeah, at your 1 star, you've got your 120, 2 stars, 115. And like over a long track like this, it's going to be a kind of devastating difference, I think, with the Bentley, because I just have so much more leeway when it comes to just, yeah, acceleration, handling, and pretty much every stat. So it's going to be very, very difficult to compete if people haven't thrown down at least a handful of tokens now and gone for those first relay packs, which is fine. Like if you're not after this car, like this car is very, very limited use. I completely agree with anyone that's not going for it. It's just a case of, like, say, I really enjoy collecting the cars of the game, and yeah, it's kind of fun just to mess around and actually have something to throw on some tokens on and get some play out of. Like it's become a less completely useless car at the 3-star mark. It's still very, very noticeably like limited in terms of its drifting. It just can't drift. Still, that's a huge problem. So even coming down around here, not even gonna begin to risk trying to do a drift into that. I would just eat footpath for absolute certain. But yeah, 1.3 seconds off the time that I placed or so. 114.2. Now it's very, very shaky and kind of all over the place. Like it's not a car that feels like it should be kind of going at that speed. It's really, really unstable. So I've done those practice runs, and yeah, kind of gotten the hang of the car at 3 stars. Now the launch of this is still one place where that can go a few different ways. And I've got 3 attempts in this, so what I'm going to do is, yeah, go for some live runs. And basically, if I nail a time of around 1:14.5 or lower, I'd be happy with it, and I'll leave it at that. And I might do some more practices because, yeah, like I think that practice time, the 1:14.2 is like exceptionally good. It is just down to a case of getting the car to kind of like grind that rail at the start properly. What I'm also doing for this first live run at the very least is to leave off the jump over the multi-story car park area. That thing is too volatile. it's far safer. I always say this as like for your first live attempt, always to go for an easy route more or less, and just to try and like put in a solid enough time. And I think with the 3-star version of this car, I can kind of take a small bit of laxed stance on not jumping that, just for the sake of getting a time that's more stable rather than an actual going crazy and trying to throw the car up and over that. Because most of the time it lands okay. A few times it resets. One time I practiced, it just exploded off the side of the building. So like, I'll leave out something like that. The start of the race, unfortunately, is something that, that's always going to be a bit volatile in this car, especially because it's a bit wonky, should we say. But we go for a live run. 360 here, and just hope for the best with the start, because there's really not much else you can do. Now that seems nice, just to land it into the railing nicely. And that's a fairly good launch for this. Happy enough with that. 360, try and hope that the second one goes low, but this car likes to fly a bit on the high side. Not going to touch the brake button until it comes out of that 360, because if I do, I know this car will throw an extra 360 into the mix. Now, most of the trash out of the way here, and just normal nitro over that. And actually, I'm utilizing a drift there in this factory area, which is kind of dangerous in the Bentley, but like I said, here now I would go over that normally. Just gonna keep nice and low along here, because it's just, for a live run, especially the first one, it's just too dangerous to utilize the jump over that multi-story. Taking it nice and slightly touch footpath there, and whoa, bouncing all over the place. 14.7. Obviously, that's going to take first place in this group, because there's only one other person who's run, and they've run with a car that's 1,000 rating lower than that. It's not ideal. Obviously, it's a half a second slower than my best practice time, and that's for sure. But at the same time, I'm going to leave it with that run for the time being, because I have that practice time of the 114.2. I might try and do some more runs of this in the next day or so, because obviously this is the first day. There's a 1 day and 9 hours left, so do some more practice, get some more use out of that 3-star version of the car, and then I might just for myself throw in a slightly tighter time. I have a feeling I definitely could do a better run than a 114.7, but just for consistency's sake, I'm gonna do that in practice a bunch more times myself, and then try and throw one in. But that's not too bad. 114.7 in the live. It's just like touching that road towards the end is pretty bad, and obviously not jumping over the multi-story car park is kind of one of those things where that would give you an extra, say, kind of a quarter of a second or so, but it shouldn't make a difference between the 114.2. I definitely feel like it would be kind of possible to bring this one down a slight bit without taking a crazy jump. But at the same time, I'll see with round 3 how I kind of get on with this, and you can see if I brought down that time some more, I'll mention it in that one. But guys, as always, sub button up there over my head, other videos for me here and here. Leave a like and comments down below. I appreciate the comments as well. I pointed out, check those relay packs on the last video, because indeed, those relay packs were a really good way of getting a lot of blueprints. But as always, guys, good luck in your GPs and drive safe.